Penelope and I were having a chat today as we were reading a book. Really, I was reading a book and she was kind of staring at me like, what is going on here? One of the biggest things that we were talking about, though, is that there's two types of people in the world, right? There is people who create, and there's people who consume. And definitely they can overlap, right? So they can definitely be, you can definitely go in between here. We can create and consume and be two of those people. The majority of the way the world functions, though, if you think about internet speeds, right? I want to buy a plan, it's 30 megabytes download, 2 megabytes upload. What does 30 megabytes download allow me to do? For those of you who don't know, just think of like going 30 miles an hour versus 3 miles an hour. If you're in the United States, if you're outside of it, it's kilometers, right? We're the amazing country that needs to invent all our own crap. So basically, what that means is if I'm doing 30 megabytes download and 3 megabytes upload, our society is set to consume everywhere you go, right? Our national debt or our national revenue, our GDP, is basically saying, oh, people are buying this much stuff, right? So we're set to consume. But the where we want to be in the world, like, and for creating your own stuff, right? Creating the life that you really want, what happens is the people that create the life they really want are living the life that they actually want. They're creating things, right? So what we have to do as a society, we are taught, or at least my generation was, basically the generation before me, Generation X, the baby boomers, we're taught to go to school, get good jobs, get good grades, get good jobs, stay there, get pensions, all that stuff. That is dead. That dream does not exist. It is dead. We've bottled it up, we've kicked it, and we've tossed it out to the world, right? It's like in the Atlantic Ocean or Pacific Ocean or Indian Ocean or the Arctic Ocean, like it's at the bottom of the ocean. That dream is so long gone. We are now in the information age, right? We are not in the industrial age. We have moved out. We're in the information age, and it is production time. You produce things. It's bringing the faster we consume, right? Because all the information that's available around, because of the internet, it allows us, I can sit around all day and consume stuff all day long, which is so overwhelming. And by the end of the day, which this has happened to me many times, it's an endless amount of stream of times for me. But it's like constantly consumption, 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 and I'm consuming, and then by the end of the day, I'm like, oh, where do I even start, right? So we have to think about when we set up our days and we set up the career and the business that we're currently running of how we want to live our life. We have to start off with creation. We have to start off with creating. Now, consuming could be like reading a book or something like that. But if all of a sudden we go on Facebook, and then we're on Twitter, and then we're on Snapchat, and then we're on YouTube, and then we watch the news, and then we watch a sports event, and then we watch commercials, but who watches commercials anymore anyway? And then we watch commercials, and then we read billboards, and then we listen to the radio, right? And that's like people's daily life. They're like driving in a car, going to work, right? Listening to the radio, listening to all this stuff, and it's just like, this is your brain, right? And this is you. And it's like all of this stuff is bottled up, and it's whoosh, 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 whoosh. And then you're like, where? I can't even think and function. You go to work and you're aimlessly sitting at your computer going, boop, 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 right? So what we do is it's so much consumption, and that's the way the world is built for us. It is drilled into us to consume, consume, consume. This video you're watching, you're consuming it, right? So where we have to switch everything is we have to create it. We have to start from a creation standpoint. And this consumption should be built to support. It should be built to support our creation. So, like I watch some YouTube videos from like guys like Gary Vaynerchuk or Casey Neistat or Grant Cardone or somebody like that really up-levels me and takes me to another level and teaches me content. So I consume there. But I can also spend all day doing that consumption that supports my business. I try to watch no commercials on TV whatsoever, watch as very little as TV as possible, and I want to consume things that up-level me in my life, right? And what we have to really start switching our way, because where we are today and where we are about to go and where we're continually going, because the amount of debt the country's under, the amount of Medicare, Medicaid bills that are outstanding that will continually grow because of the aging generations, like we will have to create this. It's putting personal responsibility, all right? It's PR, the word that nobody likes to hear. Personal responsibility. You are responsible for your life. If we're broke, that means we're not creating income for ourselves, right? If we don't have a job, it's because we're not looking for a job or creating a job. Just submitting applications online does not accomplish anything, right? So you have to create. We are in the life, in the world right now, of you creating their dreams that you want. You have to create, right? So this is something that we don't teach at school because art and music is being cut, and art and music really is the creation. Everything else is standardized tests, and you follow these buckets that are going to get you broke, right? And it's going to get us in student loan debt. So you follow this creation path. And this is where we want to be, because what happens is we go to school, or at least this is my path, the way I thought about it. I go to school, right? And then they say, go work. So I went and worked for Philip Morris in a company. And then you like stop thinking and you stop dreaming. And then we turn 30 years old. And if we have stopped from this point, from the time we were, let's say, 12 years in educational system, and then to the time we hit 30, then it's like, what the hell do I do now? Because now I have a family, now I have a house, now I have a wife, now I have kids. And it's like, boom, right? And so it doesn't empower the creation process. What we have to do when we hit the age of 30 or 40 or 50 or 60, and if you're 60 or 70, like that's even harder because it's been a lot longer and so much change has happened so fast. Now we have to really empower ourselves to create. So 3 things we can do. Number 1, it starts with following inspirational people that inspire you in your business or life, right? Like somebody like Tony Robbins really does that for me. It gets me generated, it gets me jacked, it gets me excited. I stopped listening to like gangster rap because it's about drugs and women and like horrible, horrible stuff. Like there's no good input coming from that. So I changed the type of music that I listen to. I listen to something that's, if I'm working, I listen to a certain thing. If I'm working out, I listen to something else. If I'm deciding to get inspired and kind of like cook food around the house, then I listen to something else. And I really changed my environment of where I was. I changed the food I was eating. I stopped drinking. I stopped smoking. I stopped hanging out in those environments that allowed me to start looking from the mindset of creation. And the biggest thing is regarding your life situation of whatever that is, it's your personal responsibility. I owned up and took personal responsibility for my life, which me doing this will allow you, and you doing this for personal responsibility, will allow you to create the art and the beauty that you want to and put it out in the world. And if you're trying to build a business that way, people will be receptive and they will respond. They will consume your material because you're inspiring them. Bye-bye. If you like what I'm spitting here, you can go over to MikeJWatts.com and you'll soon be able to access all sorts of little inspirations, books that I really enjoy, videos, documentaries, stuff like that I believe are very impactful and powerful for the world that we're currently in. And all the social media platforms, Mike J. Watts. I'll see you guys there. Have a great day.